live this evening. We are in Palm Beach, Florida. And as you can see, you're stuck with me tonight, Ted Goodman. The mayor is having some very important meetings and hope will join us at some point during though. Wow, what a busy Monday. Of course, CNN drops Don Lemon. Tucker Carlson leaves Fox News. And really, doesn't it? Usually it's like this happen in threes, right? So first we learned about Tucker, of course. And then the news drops about Don Lemon. And then we're waiting for a third. And I'm thinking, who at MSNBC are we going to see leaving the network? But we haven't seen that yet. But what a very, very interesting day in media. Of course, with Fox News, we've had other high-profile exits. Of course, the great Dan Bongino is no longer with Fox, and Laura Trump actually is stepping away. And I'm going to have to read about that. Comment below what you've heard about that, and maybe we'll talk more. So Fox News, Tucker Carlson, no more. His last show was Friday, and if you went back and watched his program on Friday, nothing. I think he ended the show by saying, it's so great. It was a great week, and we'll see you Monday. And I think he even said that. So it's an interesting day in the news. Ashley, we have our friend Ashley here.
Was it unexpected then if he thought he was going to be back on Monday, or at least wanted his audience to believe that he would be back on Monday?
Sure. That's always a possibility. So Tucker, and by the way, what a wholesome segment. If you did see his last show, he ended it Friday night with he was eating pizza live on set with a pizza delivery man who had recently done a very good deed. He actually took out a criminal, a suspect that was running from police. So you'll want to check that out. So very, very interesting. And of course, CNN dropping Don Lemon. Don has been with the network for 17 years. And when I read that, it quite surprising, right? So 17 years. He's been there since 2006. Crazy. Don Lemon, of course, recently made some comments about Nikki Haley, and many believe that was the beginning of the end for him. But of course, he's been in hot water for quite some time. So comment below. What do you guys think is next, right? Tucker Carlson's out. Of course, he has a very bright future. And I'd like to share some personal experiences I've had with Tucker very soon here. CNN drops Don Lemon. We'll call him Don Lemon now. Don Lemon, of course, anchored the morning show after many years in prime time. So he made the move to mornings with co-host Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. And again, full disclosure, I worked very closely with Caitlin Collins at the Daily Caller. A lot of people don't know that. Caitlin Collins was a reporter for Tucker Carlson's outlet, the Daily Caller in Washington, D.C. I, too, spent a year at the Daily Caller with Caitlin and, of course, with Tucker. And I did want to highlight the fact that Tucker Carlson gave me a chance. I had no background in journalism, and I met the Daily Caller was founded by him and co-founder, a gentleman named Neil Patel, great man as well. And I met with them and asked for a chance, and this was 2016. This is early in 2016. President Trump was at the time a candidate, but a lot of people still weren't taking him. And so I just wasn't whether I liked him or not. I did happen to love everything he was saying. But objectively speaking, being from Michigan, I knew here's a man who's going to his message is going to resonate well in the automotive alley, right? That's what between Detroit and Saginaw, Michigan. You got Saginaw, Flint, the city of Detroit, Pontiac, a lot of these communities and cities that were built by the automotive industry, right? A lot of good paying jobs. The birthplace of the middle class was Michigan. And so I knew that Trump's message, a message of, look, Democrats blame Republicans, Republicans blame Democrats. Meanwhile, the jobs keep leaving. Trump comes along and his message wasn't a Republican message. It wasn't a Democrat message. It was an American message. And he talked about the forgotten working man and the forgotten working woman. So here I am in 2016, spending a lot of time in Washington, D.C. And at the time, these folks, a lot of them, including most Republicans, right, were saying, Trump's not going to win. He can't win. They said he was the worst thing for the party. And I'm sitting there thinking, wasn't whether I liked them or not. I'm just sitting here thinking these guys got it all wrong. They have it all wrong. Trump is in position to win this election. He's going to resonate with millions of Americans who feel the system has left them behind. And it's again, I'm an avid news consumer. I read the newspaper. I have most of my life, and cable news probably a little bit too much. And I'm sitting here watching these guys across the networks just missing it on Trump, just completely missing it. And again, it wasn't about whether I liked the guy or not. I just knew that this is a message that was going to resonate in places like Macomb County, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio. And so I had a friend who was able to connect me to the Daily Caller for an interview to become a reporting fellow. And here I am meeting with Tucker Carlson, Neil Patel, great people, by the way. Now I'm bringing back all these great names from the Daily Caller. And I came up, I met with him, and I basically told him, look, I don't have a background in journalism, but I love the news. I read it all the time. And they are all missing the mark when it comes to President Trump. And so I asked them for the opportunity to start writing stories. And I did it as a fellow. So while I was going to school, I was able to do this. And he gave me a chance. So I accurately reported President Trump's rising poll numbers and victory. And specifically in the state of Michigan, because that's where I'm from. I covered it, and I'll show you. I'm kind of gloating a little bit here, but this isn't about me, right? This is about Tucker Carlson and the kid, really a kid at the time, a chance, not based off of his resume or what school he did or didn't go to, but by meeting with me, believing in me, and giving me that opportunity. And by the way, you can measure a person and their character based on how they treat the little people. I say little people, but people who aren't famous and don't really have status. And he treated me with nothing but respect, and everybody else at that office. And I've seen him do it with others, right? With other people. Tucker Carlson's he's got a big heart. He's a good man. And I could go on and on. But this man, he's transformational, is he not? He really is. What he's done and the message he's been delivering every night for what? I guess he ended up doing it for 7 years with Fox News. He truly is a national treasure. And look, when I read that this morning, it was a punch in the gut a little bit. It really, really was. But we all Tucker will be okay. We know that Tucker Carlson will. He could do a show tonight, right? Like we do. He could do a show on his social media, be a great success. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me here. I am going to kind of work on the screen here. I'm looking at a monitor. I'm alone tonight. We have some good friends here helping us. So I want to thank Dawn, Michelle, and Ashley for being here. Thank you guys. Yep, thank you. You can say hi. And so if you can kind of bear with me here, I'm going to set up our additional camera. So comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we'd love to know where we're getting you from. I'm going to ask Ashley to help me here. When this is good, Ashley, I'm going to have you edit this. Nope, you're good. The title, we want to make the title right here. (131). So can you update that title there? Thank you. I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text you actually. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you guys. This is what happens live. This is a live program. I'm all by myself this evening, but we want to thank you for joining us. And again, we do expect the mayor to join us. So stay with us all hour, and we really hope to have the mayor with us. So again, big news in media space. So we really want to get your comments here. I'm gonna bring you up here. We're gonna bring your comments onto the screen. Be part of the discussion. What do you think's going on here? Talk about CNN. Those of you that do watch it, because I don't watch CNN, what do you think of today's product? And what do you think happened with? Well, look, there's no surprise there. What happened? I mean, Don Lemon was on his way out. But what do you think the future of CNN is? And do you think that CNN can kind of save itself from the unfortunate place they've gone over the past 7 years. I mean, look, I remember back to the 90s, into the 2000s, CNN, they would call it the Clinton News Network. And really, at the time, we're talking the mid 2000s. I would say it too, but I didn't see it as much. I really did see CNN as kind of objective and down the middle. But holy smokes, today, watching CNN today, I don't know about you guys, but there are times where I just cannot believe this is one of 3 major cable news networks in America. I mean, they went up was disgusting. It was wrong. And it was so damaging to America. It was so damaging to our country. You don't want to start it. Okay. You started the live. That's fine. Put it on and try to frame it. Thank you, Ashley. We have the great Ashley helping us this evening. Many of you know Ashley. She's been on the program. She gives us a great perspective. She gives us a very good perspective. Here, how much? I'll take it. So comment below. Let us know what you think is happening here with everything that we've seen on the news with, of course, Fox News and CNN. Those of you joining us on Getter, thank you. And you've got me tonight. Good. We're good there. Thank you. You're stuck with me. He's in some very important meetings, and he is expected to join us later. And if you excuse me, I'm doing a few things while I do the show here. I'm every once in a while doing a sound check and doing to make sure that you're getting the program. So CNN moves on from Don Lemon. We kind of know what happened there. With Tucker Carlson, we've seen a lot of rumors, and I don't trust many in the what we call, these media watchdog types, right? They don't like Tucker Carlson. So I don't trust what I'm hearing when the LA Times comes out and tries to say what happened in regards to Tucker. I don't trust them. So what are they saying? Well, they tell us this came straight from the top. They say this decision was made by Chairman Rupert Murdoch. Well, as if, of course, he's the top guy at the program. He's the #1 rated show. We know it's going to, of course it has to stop, right? Well, it's not going to be some middle management. It's going to say, yeah, we're dumping Tucker. No. So what else could it be? We know that a former producer is suing the network, saying she was coerced by Fox's attorneys into making untrue statements during her deposition in relation to Dominion. That a lot, and look, I actually know this. I know this producer in question. I've worked with her back when she was with Maria Bartiromo, and then when she was with Tucker, and it caught me off guard. It came out of nowhere. I mean, the reports came out that she was suing the network. Fox promptly fired her, and now she's making all sorts of claims beyond just in relation to Dominion. Of course, she's unfortunately come forward with, and you got to let these things play out. I am not here to make any comments or claims anywhere on this. Just reporting the news that this producer is also suing the network for discrimination based on gender and a number of other areas. So that's come up as potentially being a sticking point with Tucker's departure. And of course, the Dominion stuff. Tucker Carlson beats to his own drum, right? So you wonder if that had anything to do with it. And it's just unfortunate. Look, he was a #1 rated show for a reason. Millions of Americans tuned into him either live or his clips would rack up hundreds of thousands, millions of views. And I'm here also to tell you just what a good man he is. So, but when it comes to Tucker, we're not here crying, right? I mean, if anything, this is sad for in the short term, right? Not having him on the air, but he'll be back. And we know he's going to be just fine. And we know the future is content creation, content creators individually going out and building their own brand, something that the mayor's doing. And of course, he came in with a brand, and that's what Tucker is going to do as well. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Tucker Carlson. Robert tells us he's not dumping Tucker. He's going to dump Fox News. And he tells us he already dumped CNN in 2016 and MSNBC too. I don't know if that was a poem. I don't think I read it right. So thank you for joining us on Getter. You can see behind us here, we're getting some lightning. We're getting some lightning here in Florida. So a free light show, Don and Michelle tell us. So comment below, let us know. We're waiting for we hope the mayor makes an appearance tonight, but no promises. So please don't hold me to that. We hope so, but can't guarantee it. So you'll have to stick around. So we're going to play our commercial here. We're going to play one of our commercials. And when you support our sponsors, you're supporting us. You're supporting the mayor. You're supporting common sense. You're supporting truth in journalism. So if you are considering a move to gold, of course, with the uncertain times that we find ourselves in, Kirk Elliott is someone the mayor goes to. So we're going to play it. And but as you're watching, if this is something you're considering, we certainly hope you'll go with Kirk Elliott and you'll tell them that Rudy sent you. Because look, together, we have to stick together. There's too much at stake. There's too much at stake. With that being said, we're going to play the ad and we'll be back with you shortly.
Faith and family, freedom and finance are four things that we would do anything to protect. I trust the team at Kirk Elliott, PhD, Private Advisors, with providing the advice and sound strategies to take advantage of the inflationary pressures, the high interest rates, and the international challenges we face today. The Kirk Elliott team, with over 29 years of experience, shares our values and believes in people over profit. They can help you protect your finances from the big government policies that are out of our control. So what's in our control? The decision to act or not to act is within our control. I encourage you to act. Call Kirk Elliott, PhD, Private Advisors today.
Wow. Well, we certainly hope you'll consider calling Kirk Elliott to discuss what's going on. Michelle had a comment, but Michelle has walked out. Michelle, I'm sorry. So Michelle, do you want to join? Michelle, what you made a comment about Tucker I found very interesting. Why don't you share it with the class? Oh, there she's coming on. She's coming on. We got her on. Thank you. Michelle, thank you for joining us. This is our good friend, Michelle. She knew I was doing the show alone and rushed over here. So I really appreciate that, Michelle. And we'll share a mic here.
Thank you.
Oh, let's give her that mic. Let's bring that mic over. Yeah. And then actually, if we can move that camera over more, we're going to center it for Michelle. Michelle, what were you just made some interesting points. So Tucker's gone. Did you watch Tucker Carlson?
I did. I watched Fox and Newsmax and OAN.
And what was your reaction when you heard that Tucker was leaving today?
Well, you sent me the news. I didn't have time to read it. Unfortunately, I was busy, but I saw the headlines. I got the gist of it. And I coincidentally, I was at lunch and I heard some locals talking about it.
Yep.
Supporters actually, and they said that they think Laura Ingraham should move into Tucker's time slot.
Yes. Wow, Laura.
That's what they said.
Okay, well, comment below. That's an interesting one. So they're going to go with rotating hosts for the time being. Curious who'd be on tonight. In a way, though, I will say this. Look, in a way, this frees up everyone's 8 o'clock hour that haven't been watching the mayor, right? Because the mayor goes on at 8 too. So, look, in a way, because we were talking. Look, it's something we've talked about in our audience. Those that have been a long time know this. We've considered moving because of how great Tucker is, right? We've thought about leaving 8 o'clock because it's Tucker and we love Tucker. So look, we hope to pick up a new audience here at the 8 o'clock hour.
You will in the meantime, and you can actually watch both.
Of course. And of course, you can watch both. You can have the mayor on. And for both shows, you can watch it later. A lot of our audience will watch us. They'll catch us, overnight the next day. And so it's,
Well, and they can also listen to his radio show.
and they can listen to his radio show. 3 o'clock, WABC and syndicated
Sunday mornings.
nationwide.
And
That's
Sunday
right.
mornings.
So, Michelle, being here in Florida, what are your thoughts on? So, you have Governor DeSantis.
Mhm.
Great. As far as what he's done here in Florida, people give him a lot of credit. What are your thoughts on the situation with him and President Trump? In terms of, should he run? Should he wait? To the degree that you want, what are your thoughts?
So I am definitely a Trump fan, first and foremost. I am a DeSantis fan as well. He's our governor.
Of course.
And, I think the latest poll showed that DeSantis's points dropped 40% or 40 points. or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Trump is up big in the polls and increasing that lead.
And
Like,
while
as
there's a
Dawn
lot
said,
of-
it's
while-
huge.
Yes, huge.
Yes.
While there's a huge. So while there's a lot of people that think that Trump shouldn't run, I
Yep.
would love for him to be our 47th president again. I think what he did for our country and what he stands for is still the best for everybody.
And what do your friends tell when you talk about this to your friends? What would you say where your friends at? Are they with Trump? Are they with DeSantis? Maybe a third? Among your Republican friends, I don't know how many Democrat friends you have, but we'll leave them out of this discussion. No, you're an open-minded person,
I know.
and Michelle has a lot of great friends down here in Palm Beach, and no doubt we're not like them, right? We don't go up to somebody in a Biden shirt or an Obama hat and say anything, But sometimes when I'm wearing my Trump hat or my Trump golf shirt, my goodness, you'd think I like kicked their dog. Someone comes up to you and they can't control themselves and they're just so angry, and it's something. So, but we don't do that, right? I have friends.
No.
I question their, like what's wrong with you? How can you support this man? But not in like a mean way, like, oh, you're an awful human. And it's interesting, right? How a lot of the left today.
Listen, Trump has never been anything but nice and a gentleman and cordial. Every time you meet him, see him, he is for the people all the way. And regardless of what you think as him of being presidential or not, Obama is charming and whatever, but he's evil. For all the Trumpers, we think he's evil, behind the scenes. Trump is very transparent. He's very for the people, for this country, and he does what is best for us. I don't know how you can argue with something like that, whether you agree with what he says, but he's so transparent, and he's a really, really good guy.
Have you met President Trump?
I have.
Tell a lot of our audience. Look, the president enjoys a lot of support, right, with our audience,
Yes.
and a lot of them, they feel like they know this man just by how much they've seen him. Unfortunately, not everyone's able to meet him. So, kind of share with our audience what it's like, what President Trump is like in person. What is he like in a group of people?
Well, he likes manners. He does not like unruly people. He is very, very nice and kind, and he's interested genuinely in people who are around him. And he's very complimentary of anyone for any reason that he sees fit. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I've noticed that too. The president, if you're at, I've had the opportunity to sit with him at the table. I've been in small group settings with him, and no matter the setting, no matter the people, he goes out of his way to make sure everybody feels a part of the conversation,
Yes,
right?
yes.
He wants you to feel welcome. He's constantly, you can tell, he's always aware of his surroundings, right? And making sure, even tonight, I'm going to share. I'm not going to give anything away, but I want to share one moment. I do want to share a moment where he went up to the staff, right?
Mhm.
And he goes out of his way. He wants to make sure, you guys good? Are you guys all good?
Yes.
And he did that. And it just, it says
Every-
a lot about his
Every
character.
Sunday after he goes,
Yes.
if he goes to the beach club,
Yep.
he talks to every single person at the beach club.
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are you doing? Like you said, even the staff. Do you need anything?
Yep.
What can I do? He checks every little thing on the grounds. Is this
Oh, yeah.
good?
Oh, yeah.
Are we fixing this? Are we doing?
That's right.
He is on top of every single detail.
That's right. And details. That's
Details.
right. That
Oh, he's
details. Look,
details.
Mar-a-Lago, it's such an incredible place, but it's not even about, it is. It's very, it's glamorous. It's beautiful, right? It's got the most beautiful style, but it's not even about that. It's the people. the people. They make you feel so welcome. And I'm here at this beautiful club with these gold statues, and I feel so out of place. But they come up to you, the staff,
And
and
the
it's
staff
all
even
reflection.
remembers
It's
you.
always a
The staff
reflection of
will
the
remember
president.
you.
They'll remember you,
Mhm.
or at the very least, they'll they'll act like you
Yeah.
belong there, right? Like,
Yes.
no, right. And I appreciate that, right? I don't think they actually know me. They shouldn't. But they make you feel so welcome. And it was that way at Trump Hotel in DC. And anyway, look, and we say this, and it's important that we say this because of how the man is covered by the media. They're so they treat him so awful. And
Awful.
this isn't the person, this isn't the man that we see up close.
They've never found anything against him that they've gone after him for.
Isn't that interesting, right?
Mhm.
Think about this, right, ladies and gentlemen? Think about this. Think about the hundreds of, literally, there are thousands of people while he was president, right? Even now, after he's president, thousands of people out there, from journalists, right? Reporters, and then, of course, the government, FBI, all these intelligence agencies, the police, the DA in New York, all thousands of people that are just digging through Trump and every aspect of his life, trying to find something on the guy. And they can't find anything,
Nothing.
right? They have to trump up some, I love, no pun intended, a trumped up charge, right, in New York State that any lawyer will tell you is bogus. So that tells you something, right? Think about it. Think about the microscope this man has been under since the moment he took office. On day one, the Democrat Party, they came out and said, we are impeaching this man. He is not our president. And by the way,
Because they were so shocked he actually won.
so that's actually, yes, both political party
Yes.
establishments. I was in Washington the night of the election, ladies and gentlemen. They were shocked. They were shocked. And frankly, because a lot of them they don't get politics. They really don't, right? It really exposed them for not really understanding what was going on, right? They were shocked. They didn't see it coming.
But with him winning, the left actually exposed themselves of actually who they are.
They did.
They did.
They
Trump
did.
didn't. They exposed themselves by
They
going
did.
after Trump.
They did. Ashley, can we move that camera even more towards you? Just keep it coming. Yep. Keep it coming. We're framing the shot, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they call this in the biz. Good. Thank you. We're framing the shot. So now we have Michelle a little bit more centered here. And we're going to be joined by a few other great guests this evening. But before we let Michelle go, Michelle, we understand that you and your business partner here,
Yes.
sell what we're going to call America First jewelry, or you have a line of beautiful items. I don't know if you have one you can show us.
Exactly. Actually, Dawn is wearing it.
Okay.
So when Dawn comes on, she can show you because I gave it to her.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, great. Oh, great. Well, we're going to have Dawn on here in a moment.
But it is called Rosie's Garden. We make beautiful 18 karat gold roses that are handmade. They're not production pieces.
Okay.
And it's based on a really sweet story based on Dawn's niece who passed away at a young age of rare cancer. And so the name came from her and inspiring her.
Well, let's bring Dawn on now.
Yep.
I wasn't even aware of the full backstory. Let's come on in here. Do you want to stay?
I think we should stay.
Okay. Bring a chair. Pull up a chair.
Okay.
So we're gonna have another guest here join us for a few minutes, and these are two great America First patriots who are a part of the movement, and they do so much, and they've been so good to join us tonight. Join me. No, she's good. She can't see anything, so it's actually on us tonight to check. So come on in a little bit more. So here we have Dawn. No, we're good. No, we're good. We're good. Are you on? No, you're in. You're in the shot, guys.
I'm in the shot.
We're in. You're in.
I'm in
I'll
the
move
shot.
this- Yeah. I'll move
this
this over.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Dawn. So
Yes.
talk to us about the jewelry and let us know the backstory here.
Well, okay. So
And the camera's right there.
my niece was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer at the age of 11, and she fought extremely hard. And unfortunately, she passed away when she was 14. Michelle was part of my board and still is. She's the only one that stayed with me. And we have procured and created this piece in honor of my niece. Now, the other thing that we do is the Rosie Foundation, which grants money or gives money to children with cancer and animal rescue.
Yeah.
And
So 10% of every sale
Right.
of our jewelry
Mhm.
goes to the Rosie Foundation, and then the money from the foundation is dispersed. And it doesn't go to any cancer research. It
Yeah.
specifically goes to families in need.
What's the website? Sorry, what's the website for
What-
the Rosie Foundation?
We're working on rebranding.
Yes.
So the website's not running, but
Okay.
you can call Dawn directly.
Yeah, at 954-309-2234. Or you can also see our roses at Coastal Girls in Palm Beach
On Worth Avenue.
on Worth Avenue. And so if you're in the Palm Beach area, please visit Dee and say hi, and that we recommended her to come in and see you.
Awesome. Well, please consider doing that. Dawn, she's such a good person. She's been so good to me. And Michelle, of course, many of you know, Michelle's been with us before. And you can't see Ashley, but I'm very thankful for them being here tonight.
He's
So-
a lucky man surrounded by all these beautiful women.
Please consider supporting Dawn. They're just such good people, and supporting what they're doing here. And the jewelry's beautiful. And I've talked to them about the rose here. We've been talking about it.
So say.
Okay, so just one other thing. We are also working on our pave diamonds with the rose. So that is coming soon. So just stay in touch.
Can
with
we
us.
zoom in on the rose? Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, let's move that
And it
mic
comes
a
in
little
yellow
bit.
gold, rose gold, and white gold. Right.
Okay. Wow. So again, we're here. We're gonna show you a close up, or closer up.
Closer up.
Of
Do
the
I need
piece.
to move?
Lean in,
No,
baby.
not at
Lean
all.
in.
No, you're
All
good. No, you're
right.
good. You're good.
Okay.
Look at that. That's the
Up
that's
close
the
and
rose
personal.
gold. So consider doing that. So consider supporting these two patriots and what they're doing.
Yes.
So let's talk more about Florida. You're also
Okay.
here in Florida.
So
Yes.
I wanted to bring up something that you brought up about Dominion.
Yeah, we can talk about Dominion a little bit.
Well, so if we go to Mike Lindell and Dinesh D'Souza, of all the evidence that they've exposed regarding Dominion and the election, where is any of that? Why don't we see any more of that? Why aren't they doing anything about that? Why aren't
Well,
they?
you're asking a good question, but when Dominion and Smartmatic, they file these lawsuits with these
Right.
big numbers, and look, they settled for
Huge
almost
amount of
800
money
million,
with Fox.
crazy numbers, right?
Right.
Million.
So why aren't we fighting to get
That
rid of the
chills
machines?
the process. That scares others. That silences others that, of course, want to talk about it. They see what happens.
Right.
I mean, Fox is probably one of the only ones that can afford that size of a settlement. It really scares people into silence. And look,
So why aren't we banning Dominion?
Actually, the state of Florida, the Florida Republic
Assembly.
Assembly, thank you, because I
Yes.
couldn't remember the A, what it stood for.
Florida Republic Assembly.
They're a very active group. They're a young group. And
They've just tailed off from the REC.
okay. And what they're doing is they're asking all their supporters and sending it out to different people to reach out to the local Florida representatives
Mhm.
to let them know
Yeah.
that you need to stop with the Dominion and do paper ballots, because we don't need Dominion anymore. They are full. We all know that they were rigged from day one. So we need to get rid of them throughout not only our state, but every other state.
So it'll be interesting to continue to follow that and to see what happens. There's some other cases there with Smartmatic, and so we will be watching those closely. Back to Florida. Well, not back to, right? These issues are all intertwined.
Right, exactly.
What are you hearing about Governor DeSantis? Look, I'm not, and this is how I do this because I don't want to put someone on the spot.
I'm
So
more
I
than
asked,
happy.
well, but I asked them, so I asked people, what are your friends saying, right, about DeSantis?
Now I'll tell you what I'm saying.
Mhm.
about
Sure.
DeSantis.
But I also want to hear about your friends because
Yeah,
that gives
yeah.
us a larger sample size. But Dawn,
Sure.
what
She
are you
only
hearing?
has one friend.
And that's Michelle.
I'm just kidding.
It's so true. No. So I look at it this way. Governor DeSantis is a great governor for the state of Florida. And why in anybody's right mind would run against Trump? Shut up. The man is amazing. He's the only politician, which I don't consider him a politician, who said what he was going to do, followed up with what he's going to do, right?
Right.
And the 2020 was stolen from him. And let's face it, folks, it was stolen. Okay. If you don't believe that, then you have your head in the sand. But the bottom line is, Ted, is that DeSantis, I don't know why anybody who's Republican is going to run against Trump. I have no clue why if they have a brain in their head, they should not be running against Trump, right?
Because this is the theory, is that if Trump is the only Republican running, then they fear that Biden is going to beat him again.
He didn't beat him to begin with.
Legit or not, that is what the rumor is
Yeah.
that if it's only Trump running and he is
Yeah.
the Biden will
Gotcha.
win.
Yeah, no. No.
Dementia and all.
No. Well, hello. And I called dementia before he actually became the president. I'm sorry. I don't call him president because I don't believe that he is. I believe that he's a commander he's not even close. It's not true. And when it's funny because if you look at in the Bible, when Saul stole it from King David, everything Saul did fell apart.
Mhm.
Everything.
Mhm.
So it's like Biden is Saul, David is President Trump. And President Trump is supposed to be in his rightful seat. So
Mhm.
therefore, God will bring him back in 2024. And I hope it's before. May God have that happen. I pray for him every day. Every day. I mean, seriously, you can ask Michelle. I literally have prayers that I pray specifically for President Trump and his family. So
Well, I think you and millions of others feel that way about the president, his family, this movement, and what we need to do to save the country. I mean, we really are in
Absolutely.
dire straits.
Yeah.
And and look, and they say it every 4 years, right? Oh, this is the most important election
No,
of our
this one
lifetime.
is. Yeah.
This one is.
Did you? I watched the Nelka brothers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With
Okay.
Trump, that was great.
Oh my God!
Watch that interview. And
Amazing,
again,
right?
right? It shows Trump who he is, relaxed,
Mhm.
and he's just right. He's got it, and he can talk about also. He's a funny guy.
Oh my
He's
God!
very funny.
And by the way, it's not even usually. It's not like crude humor. He's
No,
funny, like
he's just funny
yeah, like
automatically.
witty,
Yeah.
and like he's quick with his. It's
Quick
just.
wit.
And
It's,
he's actually a gentleman.
Yeah.
oh, he is. Like you said
He's
that earlier.
such a gentleman.
You're right about. I don't know how you said it, but you're so right. He's a gentleman. He it comes natural to him. He appreciates good table manners.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
And he controls the music at Mar-a-Lago.
he does.
He's got his iPad.
And
He controls on the music.
Him and the mayor, by the way, him and the
Yes.
mayor, they both love opera.
Yes.
Really?
So they'll play Phantom of the Opera. They'll play opera,
And Sinatra.
and the president will see the
Sinatra.
mayor come.
Yes.
They'll wave, start
Mhm.
playing opera. They'll play it so loud, and so everyone's gets to enjoy the Phantom of the Opera or some of these great operas that both the mayor and the president enjoy. So hopefully the mayor makes it, but we didn't. We told them there's a chance he doesn't make it tonight because he is in some important meetings with some very good people, and so we will see him very soon. We want to thank our guests tonight. We're gonna invite him back.
Yes, sir.
Please come back when we have. Thank you for joining us.
I love you, baby.
Come back on when you have a website, and let's sell some necklaces.
Amen.
But we have a phone
Some
number.
America First
We have a
necklaces.
phone number.
We do have a phone number. Yes, we'll do
Yes.
that. So I'll do that here in a minute. Can you actually email that to me?
Absolutely. I don't
Uh,
have your email, but that's okay. I'll
you
She
just text
texted
it
it.
out.
She
Okay.
texted it to you.
So we'll do that. So yeah, no, I'll get it up there.
We're on it.
Yeah, we're on it. Thank you, ladies.
Ted.
Thank you, and thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
These two have been here, and Ashley, you can't see. I'm very thankful they're here tonight, helping me as I do this on my own. So it's not really on my own. I have three great friends, so I want to thank all of them for being here and joining me tonight. So thank
No
you.
one ever got where they are by themselves.
Amen.
Ever.
No kidding.
Thank you.
I'm a hugger too.
All right. Well,
I'm Italian, so
so we want to thank them. We're gonna do one of these things in TV but I'm also the camera operator. So we're gonna make magic here, right? We're gonna zoom in on me, so you won't even see our guests leave the set, right? It's like magic.
Is this exit stage left or right?
Yeah, let's
we
go that
always
way.
go to the right,
Yeah,
but today
yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to the left.
Thank you. So we're running out of time to get some calls. We want to do a few more things here. And wow, aren't those two just amazing? We're going to have them back on. I really want to have them on, though, when we can. Easy. Thank you. We want to do that when they have a website, right? We want to support America First Patriots, but we want to do it when we can get their website. So let's talk some more about what has been a very busy news day. And we haven't even talked sports. As a Packer fan, I have to say, my entire life has been Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And of course, today, Aaron Rodgers, they finalized the deal. He'll be a New York Jet, which is interesting. Those of you that are football fans know Brett Favre did the same thing to us Packer backers. Brett Favre left the small town of Green Bay for the big city, and he was a New York Jet for 1 year back in 2007 or 2008, one of those two seasons. Maybe it was the 07-08 season. So, Don Lemon, gone. Tucker Carlson leaves Fox. Where does that leave us when it comes to what we consider the big three, right? And it's really turned into the big one. I mean, Fox just dominates the ratings. I think he's something like, or Fox they're about half. They have about half the market share when it comes to cable news. And of course, you have CNN and MSNBC far behind. And of course, you have the great Newsmax. We love Newsmax and our friend Chris Ruddy. So this could be an opportunity for them as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. It'll be interesting to see if this turns some people off to maybe some of the more traditional outlets, and we continue to see a move to places like Newsmax. Of course, OAN, which unfortunately has taken some hits recently. Right Side Broadcasting, Real America's Voice, some of these great networks and great people. You know many of them, and we have them on our show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special announcement for tomorrow night, and I'm going to put this announcement up on the screen. I think it's that cool. You're going to want to join us tomorrow night for a very special guest. Let me put this together. The anticipation, right? See if I can do the drum roll. Is there a drum roll? Get the drum roll going, yeah. We are going to be joined tomorrow by the great Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake. The Carrie Lake, many say she is the current governor, but nobody doubts that she ran an incredible campaign for governor of the great state of Arizona. Carrie Lake will be here, right here with us tomorrow evening for the full hour. You'll want to be here. You'll want to be here for the full hour tomorrow night, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Mayor Rudy Giuliani with special guest Carrie Lake. So we're excited for that. Tonight, of course, we really were hoping to see the mayor. He's in some very important meetings. You'll all be down the road. Maybe if we're able to say more, look, we all know how hard the mayor works, right? He's the hardest working man, sun up to sundown. He's doing all sorts of things to try and, do his part to save the country. We talk a lot about we got to act before it's too late. We have to act before it's too late. I hate to say it. It's not too late, but we may have lost the country, right? We may be past the point where we're trying to, save it before it's too late. We may be at the point where we've lost it and we need to take it back. We need to take it back. When you look at the two-tiered system of justice we have in this country, and look, we're better off making this argument without a partisan political bent, right? We're better off making the argument that this is a corrupt justice system. This is a corrupt permanent Washington political establishment. But it's not just Democrats, right? There are many Republicans in positions of power that don't care for the working man and the working woman. They're only interested in the permanent Washington political class and making sure that they enrich themselves and their buddies and that they're making money. And really, they have a lot more in common with the Democrats in Washington than many of us around the country. So We're better off really exposing the system for what it is. And I do my best to keep the partisan language out of it, because President Trump was not just a threat to the Democrat Party. He was a threat to the entire permanent Washington political class. And unfortunately, that includes Republicans, right? Look at what the party tried to do to him leading up to 2016. And I was coming out just recent college graduate, college Republican, making my way in Washington. Do you know how many people told me, because I was very vehemently with Trump from the beginning, but do you know how many people told me, Ted, you be careful, you're going to be blacklisted. You need to stop supporting Trump. We're taking names. Anyone that was with Trump, they're out. They're out. Don't do it. You're ruining your career before it started. All sorts of silly stuff like that, right? Well, I didn't listen to them, right? I didn't listen. And many of you didn't listen to them because they were wrong. It shows how little courage so many people have, right? When their reason for you not supporting somebody else, it's not because that person is this or that, but because when he loses, you're going to get blacklisted by the party, and you don't want to be. You're going to be blacklisted from this town. Look, I want to be on a blacklist in Washington, D.C. I want to be I don't want to be in with those people. And you hear from the mayor too, right? You hear from the mayor and President Trump. They're not in this for the wine and cheese circuit or the cocktail parties in Georgetown. They're boring, by the way. They're very boring. They came to Washington. The mayor, of course, in New York, but he's also been in Washington. They're in public service to make a difference, to enrich themselves. They're not in it to inflate their own ego. They're in it because they know they can make a difference and they want to make a difference. And that's why President Trump left a very comfortable life. My goodness, think about the life this man was living. And he volunteered for this. He volunteered for this, to be attacked by literally thousands and thousands of people a day, whether it's these fake news journalists in Washington or the corrupt Department of Justice or a totally ridiculous district attorney in the city in Manhattan, or what's happening in other places, right? There are thousands of people. But my point being, it's not just the people inside the government. It's also the media, corporate America. There are thousands of people every day. What they do when they wake up, they're trying to find a way to take down President Trump and to destroy this movement. One of the greatest political movements in American history. Look, whether you're with him or not, you have to admit what this man did in 2016 and that election victory was one of a kind. And there's look, I'm not going to say there's very little comparison. There were some very interesting elections throughout the 1800s, but that was a different time. A lot of convention talk, and it was a different time. For President Trump to take on the permanent Washington political class, the academic elite, the corporate America, Silicon Valley, Hollywood, he took on literally all of the power centers in this country in 2016, and he won. And he won because of the American people. And he won because at the time we still had a free press and people could speak their minds, right? And nowadays, I mean, look, you have a sitting president. He was kicked off of social media. They silenced the sitting president. So this time around, it's going to be different. It really is going to be different. And we all know that look, we have maybe the smartest audience in the podcast live streaming space. So you all know you're with us. It's going to be even tougher this time around. And when we win, I got to stop saying we. When President Trump, as of now, I do think he is the odds-on favorite to be in the White House come January 2025. Yes. And the only reason it's not a for sure thing is because of all the nefarious activity that the left and the permanent Washington political class will throw at the president to keep this from happening. But this may be even bigger. I don't know, though, because 2016, there's nothing like it. You can't repeat that, right? You really can't. But this victory will be monumental. And if it's not the greatest victory in presidential history, it's, in my book, the second, just behind 2016. And look, they're not going to be caught off guard this time. Part of the reason Trump was able to win in 16 is because and they're not that smart when it comes to politics, but somehow they get into these positions. Both parties, right? They all missed it. They didn't think Trump was going to win. So they didn't bother to do all the things they did in 2020. They didn't think they had to. But here comes Trump. He wins. He really changes things starting day one and would have done so much more had he not been jammed up every single step of the way. And we're talking internally, folks. We're not, look, it's enough to have what he had coming at him from the outside, from the media, from Hollywood, right? I mean, from the sports world. Trump derangement syndrome went so nuts that now, I think of ESPN as this woke, disgusting network. I can't watch ESPN anymore. Right? I can't, sports. They made sports. And look, a lot of people stopped watching football. I didn't. I'll be honest. I love it too much. I love football. And look, if they went farther, then sure, of course I would stop watching. Our country is way more important than any sport. But I know the NFL. I know the fan base. I joke that I am part owner of the Green Bay Packers, but those of you that know how that works knows that I'm not making the day-to-day decisions. But Colin Kaepernick was not allowed back in the league. Colin Kaepernick was not allowed to suit up in a jersey. So I don't think, I haven't completely lost all my faith in the NFL. And we know the fan bases, and it really is it's a Trump. Look, you go to a football game and you got a lot of Trump supporters, right? Whether it's college football or the NFL. But I don't watch basketball anymore. I don't watch the NBA. I can't do it. I cannot watch it. That's a sport I gave up because of LeBron James and China and it's disgusting and it's so obvious. So I have given up the NBA, and I'd be curious. Comment below. Let us know. We're going to put the chat on screen. Where are you guys on professional sports in America? Because that's another area that went completely bonkers, complete woke, nuts under Trump, right? Who would have thought? Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, look, I'm sitting here now and just thinking about how crazy these people went. Molly says she loves hockey, and I do too. We love hockey, the NHL, just a great sport, good people. And I'll say, as far as professional athletes go, in my experience, hockey players have been the nicest. I got to be careful here. I'm not bragging. I do know a couple of guys in some other sports, so this wasn't a shot at you. But I have those NHL players. I've met athletes in all these sports. For whatever reason, I would call them the most down-to-earth and easygoing, I would say, of the four major sports. But I want to be clear, that's obviously a generalization. We don't want to generalize here. There are great people in these other leagues. And I think part of it, and now we're going down a rabbit hole here, but part of it is when you play hockey, growing up, the process of becoming a pro hockey player involves spending a lot of years in different communities, right? Playing hockey for a different team, but they're called host parents. You leave your family, right? If you're a kid playing hockey, you love hockey, you're in Arizona or California. Well, the good hockey is in Minnesota and Michigan. I'm from Michigan, so I know this from experience. So these kids, right, you're leaving and you're going to new schools. You're spending your high school as like a new kid in a different high school. And so you kind of have to, you got to be nice and find your way inside that new environment. So part of me feels that's why hockey players are the most down to earth in my experience. So very busy news night. But I want to get back to what we've been talking about tonight, and that's President Trump and just how far so many of our institutions went woke to the left. But again, let's not make it partisan. They wanted to take Trump down because he was an actual threat for the first time in a long time He was an actual threat to the permanent Washington political class, right? For decades, Democrats blame Republicans. Republicans blame Democrats. Meanwhile, we have trade deals like NAFTA. We have the TPP coming up. Jobs kept leaving. Democrats said Republicans don't care about the working man. Their jobs are leaving. Republicans would say, oh, Democrat policies are running businesses out of the state. Meanwhile, the jobs kept leaving. Ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in Michigan. I saw it. And for me, by the time I was in high school, going to college, 2013, it wasn't something to question, right? Seeing these once great American cities hollowed out and completely abandoned. Have you? And these are, I love these places. I'm not making fun of it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my state, Michigan. Go through downtown Jackson, Michigan sometime, huh? Go through Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, Flint, Saginaw. These are some of the greatest cities in the world 100 years ago, 120 years ago. They're completely hollowed out today. And any of the money has left for the suburbs. But I grew up in a time where that was normalized. I didn't question it. I remember going to Flint, Michigan as an intern for a gubernatorial campaign in 2010. I go to Flint, Michigan. My goodness, I grew up in a small town in Michigan, so this is my first time in Flint. I can't believe it, that this is America. These blocks and blocks of just completely abandoned homes, entire city these massive factories, and a lot of you have seen massive factories that were once teeming with thousands of employees, completely abandoned. I mean, these are multiple football field size facilities, completely abandoned. And then we go to a fundraiser out in the suburbs, you know, on some beautiful home on the back nine of Warwick Hills. And this was like 5 minutes away from the middle of Flint. And it's guys, we got to a point in this country where we normalized it and it was acceptable. I didn't question it growing up, right? But in college, I did. One moment I'm in downtown Flint, I'm in the suburbs, and just the difference. And the Democrats will have you believe, you know, it's a race thing, or it's something about race, right? And it's not. There is huge economic injustices in this country. And Trump highlighted them, right? President Trump brought them up. He talked about the working man and the working woman. He talked about these great cities in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana that are now completely hollowed out. And these good paying jobs are no longer here, right? That's why Trump won Michigan in 2016. President Trump understood that Michigan was the birthplace of the American middle class. There was a time in this country when you could work a good, honest, paying job, make the money necessary to raise a family, buy a home. I mean, you'd have 2 cars, a white picket fence, your kids would be set, and you could make an honest living and get by working for, you know, the big 3, General Motors, Ford. Nowadays, both parents have to work. And my point being here, ladies and gentlemen, is there are great injustices in this country. There are, of course. The American middle class has been hollowed out. It's disgusting. It's wrong. We've watched this happen. Before our eyes. I'm 31 years old. We've seen, look, it's not the beginning of the end, but what could be the beginning of the end of America, know it. It doesn't have to be this way, and President Trump did more than anyone to save this country and to try and stop this process here where we've hollowed out the middle class. We've shipped off all the good paying jobs. We have a small group of elites on the coast who look down on the rest of us in middle America, and they could care less about us. They don't care about Jackson. To them, it's New York City and then California. Nothing in between, right? Nothing. maybe Aspen, right? A place in Colorado to go skiing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to fight this fight, and like Trump did, we have to send the partisan political fight. Right? This is bigger than that. This is much larger than that. They want us fighting at that level, Republican, Democrat. They want us fighting each other over race. Exactly, divide and conquer. They want to bring up race. They want to divide you on this and that because it's divide and conquer, and it keeps us from tackling the real economic injustices in this country. And they knew that President Trump was he remains the greatest threat to their chokehold on power. That's why they had to call him a racist. That's why they had to call him this nut that was gonna, destroy the world, and he's a racist, a misogynist. They had to do that because they couldn't take him on what he was saying. They couldn't take him on his policies. No other politician in American history went up to the executives of Ford Motor Company, one of the largest companies in the world. He goes up to them and he tells them, you're making your cars here and you're paying American workers good paying jobs, or we're slapping a tariff on those trucks. If you want to build in Mexico, fine. 15% tariff or whatever the percentage was. Trump would do that right to these people's eyes. The rest of these folks, they won't do it. They won't do that. And so as we close tonight, please think about how we can win this fight, save this country. And as you do that, we have to find a way to message this beyond partisan political messaging, right? This ain't about Democrat or Republican. And we all know, look, and I'm preaching to the choir, right? We got to reach a new audience. This is about saving the country from a permanent Washington political class, right? A small group of elites in Washington, New York, San Francisco, Hollywood, right? Who have a chokehold on power in this country. They've bought and paid for basically every politician. I'm sorry, basically every single one of them. And that includes our members of Congress. I'm not going to name names right now, and I don't know how you guys feel, but we're behind on these investigations. We're behind. I mean, Democrats have their January 6th committee hearings, right? They have, my goodness, they have primetime hearings nightly on the top networks. That's all we're talking about is January 6th and Cassidy Hutchinson. I know these names I shouldn't know, right? It's insane. Meanwhile, here we are. We have the House, and now we're talking. Oh, look, yeah, the Bidens. It appears that the Bidens may be taking money from overseas. It's like, my goodness, the mayor was telling you this 2.5 years ago. So I don't know about you guys, but we have some good people, and we got to give them time. They're up against a lot, so this doesn't apply to everybody. But I sure would like to see some real fighters in Congress. I want people in Congress who aren't there thinking of their next reelection. And they're not there to dress nice and walk these nice halls and do press conferences and shake hands and be told how great they are and meet with people all day in their offices. No. I want fighters who are going to go there and immediately say, okay, what can I do today, right now? And I want people that are going to put it out in messaging, right? Communicating to us, guys, I'm here. We're fighting back. What they just did to Trump is unacceptable. We're going to go after him for that. January 6th, we're exposing the truth. We're doing hearings. We're going to broadcast these at 8 p.m. If the media doesn't cover it, fine, but we're doing it. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a lot. And it's about time we have some fighters. And so we know what President Trump can do. And that's why they indicted him, right? That's why they're trying to take him out. They know what's coming. So they're going to do everything in their power so that he can't run. And look, this isn't This isn't personal to Ron DeSantis. It's not. In some ways, he's been put in a very untenable situation. He really has been. But my goodness, if you can't get behind President Trump right now, after this indictment and what they're doing to him, this is the greatest. You talk about a threat to democracy, a trumped up BS charge against the former president for political purposes. One, to keep him from running again, and two, to send a message to the American people that they are not in control of their country, and three, they got to take him out because everything that he did for this country, including, on the Supreme Court and overseas, and what he exposed, right? So, look, no time for fence sitting, ladies and gentlemen. I think at this time, it's time to choose sides, right? You're either with us or you're not. And look, it's not just about with Trump, right? When I say you're with us, you're with the American people that understand what is happening to this country in real time. This isn't some hypothetical here, right? China's brokering peace deals in the Middle East, right? Russia's now sending out more gas, I believe, to China and other places than they ever were in Europe. Now, don't quote me on that. We're past the point of we got to get our act together or we're going to lose our position in the world. In real time, we have seen our spot diminish in the world. And we all know that. And that's not anti-American to say that, right? They used to attack Trump when he would say, the American dream is dead. And they'd come on, right? Oh, Trump attacks the American dream. Trump says America is dead. It's like, no. First of all, they cut off the part where he said, but we're going to fix it, right? Trump is right. The American dream is dead. My goodness, it's been dead. And it was killed. It was killed by the Uniparty in Washington. And it was killed by corrupt politicians on both sides of the aisle. So, look, we need President Trump back. We do. I mean, and I'm speaking for myself here, right? I'm speaking for myself. But the more I'm sitting here talking about it, it's so obvious. I'm talking for my audience here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember 2016 when he announced, he came out on that escalator early on. The media, they all put him on. Morning Joe and Mika, they couldn't have him on enough. They had him in studio, right? The news media, because he does, by the way, it's because he's so good with people, right? There's a reason he gets the best ratings. So they have him on, they build him up, but they're dumb. These people are not very bright. So they don't understand that they think we're going to have him on for the ratings, but the guy could never be president. So he's not a threat to our little cabal or permanent hold on power. He's not a real threat, but he's good for our ratings. So let's have him on. So they all had him on. All of a sudden, I mean, by the way, it wasn't all of a sudden. I knew from the beginning, right? We knew this guy is resonating with people, but they start to see it, right? Whatever reason, right? We have 17 people running for president. They're thinking, well, it's going to be Jeb Bush or Scott Walker or Marco Rubio. Those are the three early favorites, right? And so once, oh gosh, now he's kind of serious. Well, we got to cut him off. They cut him off. And that's when that gloves came off, right? The media, it really, all of a sudden, boom, Trump's the rate. Well, it was the comments that he made during his, when he ran, where he said, some are good people, but a lot of, Mexico across that southern border, in fact, a lot of these people coming over, some of these people coming over, they're not the best. I mean, what? So, right, they went into that. He's a xenophobe, right? That's where I learned what the word xenophobe meant. He's a xenophobe. Okay, great. Okay, so he wants to have a secure border. So, he's a xenophobe. He hates Mexicans. He's a racist. This bizarre charge where he hates women. Trump hates women. Come on, we know that's not the case, guys. And they took him off. They censored him. That's when they started saying, "Oh my goodness." At that point, the cat was out of the bag, and they knew it. And he did it his way. He didn't listen. to people that told him to drop out. Of course, you had the Access Hollywood video and a number. By the way, in the Access Hollywood video, the mayor, America's mayor, was the only person to go on and have his back. He was. And the Access Hollywood video, look, we could sit here and talk about that, but what a joke that was, right? They're going to do everything they can to take him down, and they did that time. However, they were a little too late in realizing that, oh my goodness, this guy could win. So they tried, but they were too late, and he was able to win. 2020, of course, we all know what happened. 2024, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, which is why we all need to be tough. And I think it's time for all of us to have that discussion at the dinner table, right? One thing I don't like about something that we've said in our culture that I don't agree with is don't talk politics and don't talk religion at the dinner table. I think that's such a damaging thing to say. And that's awful for a society. I think you should talk about politics at the dinner table and religion. Of course you should. I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. And I don't prescribe by that. And if someone tells me, I don't talk politics, don't do this, don't do that, then you know what? I'm not coming. We need to start having those discussions, uncomfortable discussions with people around us. And I think we start with the ones who we think the ones that know us, that we feel that we're comfortable with. Now, don't be shocked if some of them even, start avoiding you. But I think we can make a difference if we all do that. If we all take a gauge of the people in your lives, right? All right, which one? Let's all do this right now before we sign off. What's one person right now, whether it's a family member, a friend, a colleague, a neighbor, whoever, that I could say, I could bring up the topic of President Trump and I want someone who's not with him, though. You got to have someone who's either not with him or you don't know. Find out where they stand and maybe start talking with them. This isn't like a boom, hey, did you know this up? Where you have to get it all out at once. Over time, let's start this process and I'm going to do it too. I'll start tomorrow. All right. So then we can revisit in the evening. I can give an update. The mayor, maybe if you want something, I don't know if he'll participate in something like this, but get him on board. He can update our friends that are involved here. And then all of you can maybe give us your update. So let's do that. And let's start now. And let's start with someone in our life who is not with President Trump. And let's see where we can get with them. And at your own pace, right? And whether it's tonight, tomorrow, let's start. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, and we'll start doing that. But on that note, we're in soccer time. We're well into soccer time. Ashley. Oh, my goodness. We have to bring on our friend, Ashley, before we sign off. She came over here. Anyone that...
to make. So...
Everyone knows Ashley.
Here, can we move the camera?
Yeah, I got. Don't move it there. Because, look at this. We're teaching Ashley. Ashley's going to help us more with this stuff. So, all right.
So, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but all I'm going to say is that the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the gap between the rich and the poor. We are now a nation of haves and have-nots. And that was greatly accelerated because of COVID. Because I used to live in Los Angeles and my rent was pretty reasonable pre-COVID. And now it's just unaffordable. It tripled.
That's a very good point. And, it's unfortunate, right? They had us all locked up. They shamed us. We got to a point in society, and I'm starting to wonder if this had something to do with beating Trump. Look, I know not everyone can go there, but right, we live in a world where you were shamed for going outside. You were shamed for wanting to say hi to a friend. Can we really think about this for a moment? That we were shamed by interacting with one another. And why wouldn't they do it before a presidential election? Michelle wants to make one point. We got Michelle.
Okay, I just want to say that this is okay. They said they couldn't hear me earlier, but I just want to read this because this was posted on the FDA website.
Yep.
That says the monovalent Moderna and Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines are no longer authorized for use in the United States. Posted on the
Yeah.
FDA.gov website. Does anybody know that?
They don't.
No,
Well, they don't
because the mainstream media can't report on it. So
now,
I don't think anyone knows that.
so that Michelle brings up a good point, because imagine if they were making an announcement like for the vaccine. Imagine if they were saying like a new vaccine is being, that would be leading every news station, right? I would not. I didn't know about that until somebody else had to bring it up to me. So, Ashley, we're going to close out tonight, but we want to thank you for being
Thank you.
so
Ted.
supportive and helpful with us on the show. You'll see much more of Ashley in the coming days and weeks. We have big plans with Ashley. So I'm going to close out here. I'm going to reframe my shot. I want to thank all of you for bearing with me and us tonight. Sorry we didn't have the mayor, but I can assure you he is doing very good work on behalf of this great country, and you are all going to be very proud of him. Of course, we all already are. Join him, of course, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on WABCradio.com, or check out your local radio listings because he's syndicated nationwide. If you don't get him on the radio, contact your local radio station and ask them to pick up the Rudy Giuliani show on WABC live from Midtown Manhattan, weekdays, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Go to RudyGiulianiCS.com. That's RudyGiulianiCS.com, and catch the mayor's latest podcast. We have some good ones from last week, including an exclusive interview with John Paul Mac Isaac, the laptop repairman. And of course, we'll see you tomorrow night when we are joined by the great Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake will be right here with the mayor for the full hour. So we'll want to hear from you. Come loaded with questions. And I think we'll try to take some calls too. I want to give you all, that's one thing we want to do here, right? Give you these opportunities when we can. So thank you. Signing off for tonight, Ted Goodman on behalf of Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Have a great evening, and God bless America.